options and features. It's providing the framework for motivation to play the game. That's the journey, though. What about the destination? So Dave has already discussed citizenship and the main story, so let's collapse that for now. Let's talk about endgame content. The content that is designed for experienced players and keeps them engaged. Basically, everyone in this room. So how does that look in 1.0? Firstly, we'll have open world content, including missions, group missions, and server-wide events, like we have today, but tailored to endgame players. While the sandbox element of Star Citizen will allow for large-scale battles, we also want to provide challenging instanced content that will take full advantage of not only multi-crew ships, but fleets of ships. And you kind of know how we do that, right? You saw that yesterday. And as you progress through the guilds, you'll be able to accept high-level contracts from government agencies who will offer prototype and military blueprints as rewards. These missions will require the full coordination of multiple players and an assorted fleet of capital, support, and fighter ships. You will finally be able to become the admiral of the fleet, directing your armada from your hologlobe, which, yes, is a feature included in 1.0.
Command and control.
We will also be offering more specialized on-foot missions that see you enter the depths of distribution centers and municipal works in small, tight-knit squads that provide an outlet for our more FPS-focused players. On top of all this will sit a dynamic layer powered by StarSim. While StarSim will be the driving force in our dynamic economy, it will also track player and AI activity and dynamically spawn events based on their actions. For example, if it tracks large amounts of resources being moved from one home location to another, it will have a chance to spawn pirates to intercept. All this combined will provide just a portion of the endgame experience, and I'd love to delve deeper, but that's for another day, as we still have a lot to show. So we've discussed non-combat professions and guilds, cyclical gameplay loops, and endgame PvE content. But what about PvP? What about player versus player content? As you know, 1.0 will contain 5 star systems, 3 of these being lawful in Stanton, Castra, and Terra, and 2 of them being unlawful in Pyro and Nyx. So what's the difference? Let's take a look at Stanton. Lawful systems will be a mixture of high, medium, and low security areas. Each of these areas will be monitored by law enforcement agencies, and depending on the location, will dictate the emergency response time, with high-sec areas being the fastest. Initially, this response will be measured, but over time will escalate to overwhelming force. This means if someone is attacked, if they can just hold out for a short duration, help will be on the way. Pirates will be able to disrupt this monitoring by shutting down the nearby comm arrays, but this will be highlighted in your star map, with dynamic missions being generated to bring it back online. But this is the PvP you already know and experience right now, just without security forces. But before we jump into an unlawful system, let's explore what options you have if you pirate a ship. Okay, so first up, let's discuss ownership. All ships and high-value items that you own will automatically be assigned to you. This means if someone steals your ship, you can mark it as stolen, either via an insurance claim or in your Mobi. This will then trigger a dead man switch on the stolen ship, meaning it will cease to function after a period of time. But what options does this leave as a pirate? Well, you can still salvage it. You can tow it back to your fabrication hangar to dismantle it for resources. Or, if you have a high enough rep with the council, our criminal guild, you can get the dead man switch disabled and pay for a new title deed to become its new owner.
Steal ship, dude. That's great. Cool. Can you imagine just like sneaking in some guy's javelin the day he pulled it, he's by himself, you kill him,
Also,
you
if you're in a
fucking steal
lawful
it.
system, you'll need to find a transient jump tunnel, as all major locations and POIs will have custom security that will scan you on arrival. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's look at the unlawful system in Pyro. Unlawful systems have no laws at all, and with that comes opportunity. Pyro, as an example, has an abundance of high-quality resources and is a hotbed of criminal activity, the literal definition of high risk, high reward. With crafting now requiring resources, you're going to want to create bases to mine and extract them. This is where base raiding will become a new form of PvP. Yes. And it's founded on a combined arms ethos. Defending players will be able to add defenses such as walls, automated turrets, and most importantly, ground shields, a localized version of the planetary shields used in lawful systems that absorb the most powerful of weaponry. No longer can you just turn up and drop a Moab. One huge difference, though, compared to planetary shields,
No, he's a
is
space
that
dad. He'll be
these
on a high
shields can
second
be
tier
disabled.
with his fucking planetary shields.
You will have to strategically assess each base and punch your way through its defenses on foot to eventually bring down the shield generator. Once the shield is down, then you have options. You want to raise it to the ground, you can bomb it from the air. If you want to extract all the resources, though, you'll need to infiltrate the base using explosive charges and hacking while fighting off the defenders. Now, both piracy and base raiding is founded on sandbox gameplay. And again, that's the essence of Star Citizen. But we want to add more. Something where you can log on and immediately find the action and fight for a purpose. So first up, let's go on a history lesson. In the early 2600s, there was a fledgling corporation called SEAL that had developed a new system-wide planetary shield technology, the same technology that will provide protection for your bases today. To prove this tech, they wanted to use Nyx and Pyro systems as a testbed. With the promise of high-quality resources, SEAL lured independent miners to man the shield network in exchange for shield protection for their settlements. As a prototype, SEAL couldn't provide total coverage over all the mining settlements, and so they created the SEAL Tokens program, allowing the most industrious factions to purchase shield coverage for their work. The network consisted of multiple linked bases on the ground that then linked to several stations in orbit around each planet that then connected to the nearest relay in the shield network, which eventually linked back to the shield core, which oversaw system-wide distribution of the shield technology. Factions could then earn SEAL tokens for working on any part of the network. They could then use these tokens to buy shield coverage, but with the competition amongst factions being so intense, SEAL was only able to offer shielding to the hardest workers. Unfortunately, due to outlaw interference, SEAL eventually pulled out of Pyro and Nyx and pushed for a more automated solution in more civilized systems. So fast forward to present day, without SEAL's backing, they had to pull out and leave it as it is. And welcome to Station Warfare. With the SEAL network still in place, but lacking resources, orgs can take ownership of these structures to gain access to planetary shield tech, which, as you know, would make their bases invulnerable. Unfortunately, there's a catch. There isn't enough to go around. And as in the good old SEAL days, the system still works via the SEAL token program. To earn tokens, you'll have to assault a location and then deposit resources to power the network. This begins with ground bases and ends at the shield core. Each structure occupied will then accrue seal tokens over time, with larger structures earning more, and at the end of each week, you must then use these tokens to purchase shield protection. With shield coverage being limited, though, the system automatically selects the orgs with the highest bid from across all shards. Meaning for that week only, a certain number of orgs will gain access to shield protection. So this is a chance for your org to become the de facto leader of a system. It means you'll be able to log on and immediately find the action and fight for your org. And finally, it's not just sandbox PvP or ganking. You are fighting for a purpose. So once you've won your bid, what then? Well, to talk more about
Eve.
that,
I mean,
I'd like
that
to
is
welcome
Eve,
Ian
right?
Leyland,
Yep.
Star Citizen's creative director, to the stage.
That map right there
you.
is how they show no
All right, hello, CitizenCon. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Dave. So, to continue the conversation of large-scale endgame org activities, let's go back to Pyro 3, where the ground bases were being built earlier today. This morning, we saw the small habitat being built by Luke. And then we saw Deck start to expand the base into a commercial enterprise. But eventually, we saw a massive example of an org base. But with everything Rich was talking about, with org system-wide activities, we want to give you guys the ultimate end goal. But also the thing we need to protect. And to do that, let's look up into the sky and see what it is.
Makes use of quantum pulsing.
Yeah.
It's a Beyblade.
That's a whole. No,
It's a whole scene, but this is the orc base, like star base.
I think this is a shield hub, right?
Maybe. If they're still on Pyro, it might be a shield hub. It also just might be a fledgling star base. Fledgling star base. Also using the Crucible design. Nice plug for the new Star Lancer. Yeah, it's the Orc Space Base.
That's fucking cool.
Let me introduce you to player space stations. Finally, you can build your home amongst the stars. This will be the starting point for your base of operations for system-wide org activities. But why is this an end goal? Well, first of all, to construct your own space station, it's going to require vast quantities of resources and materials. And also will be a large time investment. But how do we start? Well, it all starts with the supply bay. And the supply bay can only be constructed by the pioneer. Once it's created, the supply bay then handles the creation of the station itself. Now, we're in grey box development phase, so the artwork's not final, but let's go on a journey and start building our space base.
The drones, I guess?
Yeah, it's the early concept drones. You remember them in Squadron.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'd like to see a doctor. I've had an erection for way too long. I'm sure that shitty cargo stacking is going to trigger somebody's tism, though.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the whole C or is that the whole E?
No, it's
We'll
just,
see.
Yeah, there's no fucking whole E sideways.
Holy's like more than double that.
Oh, it's fucking cool.
See the drone swirling? That's so fucking cool, dude.
Awesome. Awesome. So as you saw, the cargo grid of the supply bay consumes resources, and the required resources will be substantial and will need to be topped up over time. So this means orgs will be encouraged to have efficient logistic networks to feed the supply bay. And as Rich outlined with professions, it's ideal if your org is well-rounded in terms of roles. Even the starter player can contribute.
Yep.
The supply bay has automated construction drones, which are used to create the station. And unlike ground bases, many drones are used at once to create the base. Once the station is built, the supply bay then integrates into the station itself. So here we are. We've built our core station module, and it's big. And out of the box, the station comes readily built with some core functionality. Let me talk you through it. Right on the top is the bridge, which is the command deck. This is where all further construction is going to be managed. From here, we can then monitor the status of the entire station. We have access to power and water management. Power and cooling is something you'll need to consider carefully. It also is an area to set permissions for who can enter particular areas, either divided by the ranks of the org itself or open to the public. And there'll be a radar station to track the activity outside the base. And the terminals to access logs of who has visited the station and see what they did. So let's jump back in game and take a stroll through our bridge.
I can't believe they're already in gray box on all this. Like, this is
This is why there was no talk on any update. updates for months. The fucking payoff being edged for so long. He hasn't even talked about the expansion modules. It's literally just the basic. You've completed it.
Super awesome. The back of the bridge leads to a centralized transit network. This spine physically connects the entire station and will provide access to the various decks. Each level in the station will have a centralized lobby area, and this is your station. You'll be able to use the decorator mode, so you'll have plenty of space to theme it however you want. And speaking of having plenty of space,
That's so fucking cool.
this space station will have a one-to-one interior layout matching the exterior. No magic elevators.
Holy shit.
Anyone would bet that they're going to redo the
So
other
you can
ones.
circumnavigate around
they
the
will not.
entire perimeter,
Yeah, I
and it's
know.
wonderful. Okay, let's jump back in.
It's all in gray box. These fucking
This is-
crazy bastards.
This is insane, dude. They're cooking so hard.
So where are we putting ours?
I don't know.
Molochs.
In Devils will probably have to figure that out.
So here's the problem: is if we're only starting with 5 systems, wherever we invest, we're not going to want to stay.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna have multiple space stations.
We hope. Might limit it. Either way, this is fucking cool. Hopefully, if they do limit it, they'll let you strip your other one down, as long as you have the ships to carry the resources.
Yeah.
Idris. Is that the updated model?
All right. As you can see, right at the bottom
bet
of the
the updated
central
mods
transit
from,
system
like,
leads to the
military
lower
rewards.
areas. This is where you'll gain access to the engineering deck. So like bigger ships, this is where all hands-on engineering and maintenance gameplay happens. This will serve as the beating heart of your station. Then we have the hangar
Have
deck.
to maintain it.
And as the
fucking
name
what's up.
implies, this is where you'll gain access to your hangar network. The base station comes with a large hangar already built, along with 2 docking collars, and also empty slots for another 2 medium hangars when needed. There will be a vast network of internal road systems, meaning you can quickly drive from one hangar to the other. No elevators needed. Okay, let's check back in.
There's the paint. If you guys are really curious what the signal paint looks like.
That is
And hangers as a average.
Yeah, they got
This will be
arrows.
where the hangers from our fucking website hanger will come in, I bet.
This would be the preferred solution. Actual parking areas. This is the finalized version. Oh, look at that. So they're going to be connected with roads. The MISC ship looks like a MISC ship. I'm so torqued.
I'm glad I bought one.
Glad I bought two. It's a really good paint job. Player ATC, say it, motherfucker. Say it.
All right, so your station hangar will offer some enhanced logistics. For example, there'll be spaces for several freight elevators. And there'll be empty modules for open ship parking for vehicles and ground vehicles. And there'll be also exit points where you can simply drive out into your station. Then there'll be also an upper level for the observation deck. From the observation deck, you'll have a control room, and from here, you'll have master control over the freight elevators and the vehicle elevators. This means that even before someone has landed, their new cargo can be up into the hangar and ready to be loaded up. Now, everything we've spoken about so far is what comes with your station. Let's talk about what you can do to expand it. As I mentioned before, the station comes with a predetermined interior network of corridors and roads. And in this network, you'll find an array of bulkhead connectors. Bulkhead connectors will come in tiers 1 to 3, which drives the size of room you're able to build. In the interior build mode, this is where you start to expand the interior of your station. The rooms will require resource and time to construct, and once built, you can rename each room, which will be reflected in the station's minimap. The interior of your station will have ample areas for you to expand. You can build generic empty rooms, and you can fill with items to your heart's content. You can also build specialist rooms, where the theme and functionality is already set for you, such as mess halls or infirmaries or generator rooms. And of course, there are shops. So similar to the small shops we built around the ground base, this is on a much bigger scale. But that's just the interior. Let's talk about the exterior.
Coming to a store near you.
On the exterior, we have minor hard points. These are attachment points located on the upper and lower surfaces of the station. Using build mode, you can customize your station with a variety of modules which tailor it to specific functionality. Some modules cater towards resource collection, such as gas harvesters, while others are geared towards defense, like shields or turrets. This goes back to bridge operations of power management. A situation may arise where power priority is needed.
Obviously inactive.
Then we have major hardpoints. The core station module comes with 2 hardpoint connectors. Major hardpoints are used to connect substantial wing additions to your station. The first example...
Oh, yeah. Oh, fucking yeah.